Thank you for tuning in to the best parenting show on the internet, Post Daily Dose.
It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post.
Hey there, Post+Institute. This is Kristi, Saul, the co-founder, coming at you live with the best little parenting show on the internet. I hope everybody's doing well tonight, and I'm sorry that I'm running late, but I'm glad for what I was doing because today's my mama's birthday. She's 78 years old today, so I want to give a big happy birthday to my mama, Patty Saul. Tell you a little story. So we were celebrating. We had went and picked up some dinner and got to hang out with my mom and dad. And, you know, I could just probably sit and listen to them tell stories literally for days and days and days. Hi, Sephora. Glad you're here. And hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'll tell you what. It was kind of funny because when I went to pick up the dinner, there was a woman who was standing there, and I just, because it's Oklahoma. Oh, it's your birthday too? Sephora, how cool. Well, I'm going to tell you, you are birthday twins with a wonderful person of my mother. And of course, I would not have probably said that my entire life. But as I think about it, I can't really think of a time that I would have said anything really derogatory about my mom. But as time is going by, I just enjoy them more and more and more. And I think they feel the same way about me. I think that when we get together, it's just like, we share old stories. I get to hear stories from their childhood, stories from their marriage, of things that were going on that I didn't really know about or I didn't fully comprehend. And so I'm late because I was enjoying hearing them share and talk and laugh. And so I apologize for being late, but I'm so glad to have the opportunity to spend that time with them. Anyway, I was talking, I was telling you that there was a woman at the restaurant when I was picking the food up, and I mentioned, God, this is a lot of food. We're celebrating my mom's birthday. She's 78 today, and the woman said, my mom is 76. And we were talking a little, and I said, you know what? There is a great big part of me that really regrets all the times I was a jerk. So think about all the times that I was a jerk as a kid, or in my 20s. And now, in my way of being a jerk was not really, I didn't talk back. This was the kind of jerk I was. I would sit and listen and smile and pretend like I'm going to do everything you just told me to do. And then as soon as I get out the door, I go do whatever the hell I wanted to do and hope I didn't get caught. So that was the kind of jerk that I was. And my parents, I did a lot of things that you would probably, just cringe and the things that you're anxious and worried about your children doing. I have 2 older brothers, and I'm sure one of the 3 of us have done almost all of them at some point in time. So hopefully that's an encouragement to you, because we're all living. We're all doing pretty well, all things considered. We've all found different roles in the world and different roles in our family. And hopefully that you can reflect on that and imagine that even when your children seem like they're being jerks, that there's still hope that one day it's all going to be better, and one day you'll all be able to get together when you're in your 70s and enjoy one another the same way I got to enjoy my parents today. So I want to share the 2 books real quick. Brian's book, From Fear to Love, that you can get on promotion at feartolovebook.com. We've got the Great Behavior Breakdown that you can get at postinstitute.com or on Amazon. We have our brand new workbook that you can get in print on Amazon. We have the ebook version available on our website, postinstitute.com. And I just placed the order today for 1,000 copies to be printed for us to be able to sell directly to you. So I'll let you know when we have those in stock, and we'll put together a little package on the website so that you guys can get a package deal. And then for those of you who already have the books, I'll send out some sort of special coupon where you can get a discount to purchase the workbook to add to your collection. So I wanted to pick up where we were talking last night. We've been talking about New Year's resolutions. We've been talking about creating goals and resolutions that have to do with the position of our heart. We've talked about the handouts that you can get for free on our website, and how those can be, they might even give you some ideas about things that you might want to set as goals. You could even have a goal that you're going to practice your breathing. I'm going to practice my breathing 3 times a day. And it could be any time of the day. It could be while you're doing something else that you just, while you're doing laundry or dishes or something that doesn't require a full head of focus, that you can be like, oh, well, this is a great time for me just to practice breathing. Or I'm going to practice thinking about positive, unique characteristics of my child so that I can start seeing them differently. So a lot of the work is just like internal work, because these are things that help with the position of our heart. And one of the things that we know from Brian's book and from other professionals in this arena, Bruce Perry says, positive relationship and positive environment over time is how healing is created. So the position of our heart as parents helps to create that positive environment, because when the position of our heart and when we have an understanding of the impact of trauma, then these other factors that Brian talks about, and that is things that are driven like by our subconscious, our nonverbal communication, our timing, our tone, our facial expressions, the intensity, all of that are things that are driven from the position of our heart. And so when we work on the position of our heart, it's sort of like, in a way, if we were talking about our children and we think about the iceberg being behavior and underneath the iceberg is everything else, it's sort of the same thing. I'm inviting you all to work on the everything else that's underneath for you, because that will change then the things that are produced in terms of how you are interacting with your children. So last night we were talking about chores, and first I want to let you know that I saw in the comments that somebody talked about using the term housework. We have different kinds of work that we do in our life, and so housework and everybody pitching in, because we're all part of the home, and how we pitch in might be different based on our emotional age. So I liked that I use the term chore because I come from the country. That's why, because I grew up in the country. And so the word chore to me, actually, it brings up very good feelings, because it makes me think about, when I was little and I'd go out and feed the chickens, or to feed the horses or whatever. And so when I think of the word chore, it just takes me back to a different time in my life. So whatever word works for your family, that's absolutely okay. And helping your kids understand that their participation it's partly about because you need their help, and that needs to be an authentic needing of their help. And then another part is that we have more value for things that we put in. So if you don't have any skin in the game, so to speak, if you don't have an investment, and that's a way for us to all have an investment in our home, in our physical environment. And because that's, as family, we all help as best we can in what way we can. But I think sometimes for us as parents, we have to really understand that process of teaching. And we talked about that last night. First they watch, and that watching phase is probably much longer than we realize, and it's about different things, and so there are some areas that they can help you more readily than others, and other areas that they're watching and learning. And so the watching is a really big piece of it. I talked about how I used to have my daughter play music and keep me company, and that was part of her way of helping. And as they get older, then they do with, and they do certain things alongside you. And this is about not just about chronological age. It's really more about emotional age. So at different emotional ages, they may be working alongside you, and then different emotional ages and different tasks. They may be doing independently. And because of trauma and because of the reality that when we stress, we regress, it can get kind of tricky in our arena, because being able to tell when there's a day that they can and when there's a day that they can't can be a little difficult. And it can be easy to assign the negative intention when what we really need to do is get a little deeper under the surface, because there's things like depression that's real. Speaking of depression, I wanted to talk about this tonight too. I got a lot to talk about for being late. I had a really awesome conversation with, and I can't remember her last name right now, but I'll have it eventually. Pam is her first name, and she is the director for a company called Neurogistics. Neurogistics, they can run your urine sample, so they can send you a test kit that you purchase, and you collect a urine sample, then you dip their special magic stick in it, let the stick dry, and mail it back to them. They can run labs on that urine sample to help identify where there may be deficits that can affect you or your child in a way that then manifests as depression, anxiety, behaviors related to those things. They actually started, when they very first started, Pam was a student at TCU, and she started her research working right alongside Dr. Karen Purvis. And so all of this actually came from child-focused research and child-driven data and child-researched supplements. So two things that I learned in the conversation that I had with her that I was like, man, that's just gold right there. Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is that 95% of the serotonin that you need in your body is produced in your GI system. So gut health, intestinal health, all of that is all really, really important. So because of some factors related to my daughters, I call them overlying medical issues, because right now they're very complex and they're causing a whole lot of challenges for her in life. And so they're not underlying. These medical conditions are not underlying. They are overlying. They are the primary focus of our life right now, and everything is literally secondary to that. So I'm really excited to be working with them. I actually ordered a test kit for Marley, and I'll let you know how it goes. I know of a few families who are utilizing their services, and they're having some good results. And they use supplements versus psychotropic medications. And what I didn't know, because I don't really know a big history of psychotropic medications, but before we had psychotropic medications, different enzymes and amino acids were used to help treat depression and anxiety. And so that's the kind of treatment that they utilize and recommend. They sell supplements on their websites. Their website the supplements, they're not like super inexpensive, but I buy a lot of different supplements. I started with whatever I could get at CVS, and over time I've tried to get better quality and better quality. Theirs are good quality, and their prices are very reasonable. So I'll share a link for that organization, and I'll let you know how it goes. And with other families who are using their services, I'll reach out to them and kind of see how their kiddos are doing, if they're seeing results. What they tell us is that it's about 6 weeks you would be able to see some shifts. And so that's within ordering 2 rounds of supplements based on what the testing says. Pam says, I would be interested in this as well. We are constantly trying different medication dosages. Sometimes they take, read more. They make things worse. Yes, sometimes they make things worse than better. So that is one reason why I have not reached out towards the psychotropic medication solution yet, Pam, is because there are so many side effects, and because Marley's health is already so complex. I sure don't want to put anything in, and especially because everything gets filtered through your liver and kidneys. That's how they're able to do this test with a urine sample, because everything gets filtered through your liver and kidneys, and those are two organs that we're really striving for health and protection for Marley, because there's had to be other antibiotics and things like that have been required because of multiple surgeries. And so we're looking for the most holistic route we can take, the most homeopathic route we can take, the most natural route we can take. They also are able to do like nutritional recommendations, and they're so well versed. It's like they know our kids. They know our kids. And so I'm super excited. And I'll put a link to Neurogistics. I'll put a link in the comments so that you guys, I can't give a personal testimony yet because we've not actually used the service or the supplements, but the conversation was very encouraging. And so, when you are raising children and I was talking about that bell curve last night. Anytime you have a cognitive delay, an emotional developmental delay, a physical delay, a complex health issue that is not commonly seen in a doctor's office, you start going into specialty care. And it really is, it's code cracking. You're just working really hard to crack the code to figure out how to help your child be at their best. And so I think that their organization offers something really great and unique in the world of code cracking that I think is definitely worth a try. I feel very concerned about the world of medicine where a person goes in and they complain of the symptoms of depression. They call it depression. They complain of symptoms of anxiety. They call it anxiety. And there's no lab work done. There's a script written. Bam, right there. There's no investigation as to whether or not there's any sort of, are there any like iron, mineral, are there any mineral nutritional deficiencies that need to be looked at? We're not looking at thyroid stuff. We're not looking at really anything other than you describe that your symptoms, and they give you they may start you off at a low dose of some antidepressant versus looking at other areas of your overall functioning. And not to say that, I'm not saying that antidepressants aren't a good thing. That may be what's needed. But if you're being given antidepressants, but what really is the issue is you've got something going on with your thyroid, then that's a pretty big deal. And so I really appreciate that they actually, they use a urine sample, and I pre-read, and that is solid science. It's solid science to be able to test that way. I was also reading about, I want to say it's TM, transmagnetic something. And so it's a process where they actually use magnets on your head, and that is being demonstrated to show good results for people with depression as well. So I like to be able to find alternatives, because we have so many kids who are on multiple medications in an attempt to try to calm behavior when it may be better treated through supplements. It may be better treated through nutrition, and through relationship. It may be better treated by reducing some of the stressors so that they can have time to heal, because their brains are so sensitive and hijacked. So there's so many things for us to talk about and look at and give thought to before just jumping into a magic pill that's going to fix everything. So I wanted to, again, we were talking about, what got me sidetracked is we were talking about tasks around the house, and that there could be a lot of underlying reasons why your children may struggle with participating in the culture of your home, if in fact it is the culture of your home. Because sometimes we just wake up with a wild hair and decide today's the day we're going to clean house, and it's not been part of the routine, it's not been part of the culture. Or you may have standards for your children that you're not really keeping up yourself because well, you may be really busy or you may be depressed too. We're all human. So this isn't about harshing on anyone. It's just really about expanding our perception, expanding our understanding. And so this message came through Messenger to me today, and I felt like it was, I just felt like it was golden. And it's from a mom. She said, Monday's message, so yesterday's message talking about tasks. Monday's, oh, hang on, come back here, screen. There we go. Monday's message really opened us up for a moment. All I could think of is the feeling of total exhaustion growing up. Being a kid who lived in a very abusive family and who was never rescued, and not being permitted to rest properly or safely, and that tired did not leave me. My heart goes out to kids who are in that place with their mind, body, soul is so tired, and being willing to do the work but too tired to do it, or afraid because of fear. I think for kids from tough backgrounds, there has a different level of awareness and grace extended. Those are just my thoughts. Thank you once again for shining a light inside of this brain. So what she's telling me is that hearing that message brought up for her memories of her own childhood, of growing up in an abusive family, and the level of exhaustion was like a soul exhaustion. Like when you never really feel heard, you never really feel understood, you never feel respected, you never really feel valued. That can really leave a person, any person, to a place of being soulfully exhausted. And I do think sometimes that our kids, our children who come from really tough places, they've experienced things that, it could take years of rest to just rest from all that they've seen and all that they've experienced. They've absorbed a lot in their short lives. And even if we're talking about adopted at birth, just, the trauma of separation or trauma of the womb experience, sometimes we have these ideas and expectations for our children to function in a place that their foundation just doesn't permit them to yet. But that doesn't mean that they won't. It just means that that's not where they're at right now. And it may take them a little more time. And when we talk about that emotional development piece, and it is the least known piece about human development, how the emotional regulatory system develops. And we know that all of that early life nurturing plays a really important piece. And now we're learning that there's even more to it. Me learning today, 95% of the needed serotonin is produced through the GI system. So when you talk about food sensitivities, and that food sensitivities can have to do with taste and texture and temperature, it could be all kinds of things. And so, there could be some nutritional elements for your children or for you. There could be nutritional elements that are creating or compounding issues with regards to the development of the emotional regulatory system. Go get these sheets if you don't have them. They're free. And as I'm talking, this one right here, this tracker, could actually help you notice if it's nutrition related, even for yourself. Like, I know for me that there are definitely, if I don't get enough protein. Oh, and the other thing that I learned today was that if you address the serotonin issue, if there's an issue with not enough serotonin being created in the GI system that's bioavailable, then you'll see things like massive sugar cravings and massive carbohydrate cravings. It's like your body's trying really hard to get something to help it feel better. So then you get in that cycle, right? And sugar addiction and all of that is a real thing. And you get in that cycle of up and crash and up and crash and up and crash. And so I'm looking forward to finding out. This could be a real code cracker, I think, for a lot of families, for a lot of people. So I look forward to telling you about the process as it goes along, and hopefully we'll have some good results. And so, the whole message that I want you guys to take away from this conversation about tasks and chores. And if you missed yesterday, just go back and take a listen. I think it's about 15 minutes long. Is just that there's a whole lot to it. You know, the culture of your home is unique to your home. Many of our kids have lived in various cultures, lots of different homes. And for them to adjust to the culture of your home is a really big deal. And then also for us to take responsibility for how we do. You know, it's like we're always like blaming it on the kids, but then the reality is, how do we do when people are pitching in? Like, if somebody is helping, do we then get so vigilant and kind of hypersensitive about how the task gets done because of our perfectionistic nature that says towels must be folded this way and the toilet paper must hang this way on the toilet paper roll and whatever, you know? That's where I was like, you know, we've all got our quirks. And sometimes we're telling people that they need to pitch in and help, but then as soon as they pitch in and start helping, we really just start over-directing, over-instructing, and kind of bitching about it. So then they don't really want to participate in the helping process. So just to really expand your awareness about it, expand your awareness, expand your heart. Imagine the possibility that there could be more to, if your child's having difficulty participating and helping around, there could be more to it than them just being defiant or them just being jerks. Those are words that we may say. You know, they're just being a little jerk in there. They just want to be on their phone. They just want to be talking to their friends. They don't want to help. Everybody just wants to lay around. And now here I have to do everything. You know, we get that big old Cinderella complex. Is it Cinderella? I don't know. I have the wrong fairy princess. That's okay. You get the point. And so open ourselves up to the possibility that there could be a whole lot more going on about it. And try to find ways for your children to participate at some level, even if it's watching or playing you music, keeping you company while you do it. For them to participate at least at that level helps you know that they're engaged and that they have some understanding of the importance. The reality is that if your child has a cognitive disability, if they are borderline mentally retarded, moderately, mildly, profoundly mentally retarded, your teaching approach is going to be very different. And if you want to talk about that, just raise your hand and let me know, because I actually have about 5 years of experience in working with adults with profound developmental disabilities, cognitive delays, it's like kind of like a day program that incorporated life skills learning. And so I learned so much about breaking tasks down into the tiniest little steps. So anybody who wants that conversation, you guys just let me know and I'll see how I can help out. But the reality is it's not about learning and having the ability to do it most of the time. The learning and the ability, unless there is a physical delay, if there's a physical issue or a cognitive issue, then that means we're looking at an emotional issue. And so that's where we start expanding our heart and our understanding for how it is that our kids get stuck, how they get into fight, flight, and freeze, how they are super sensitive, how they easily feel judged and criticized. And in that space, all of their abandonment, not good enough, rejection, that all that stuff really flares up. And so a lot of times, because of a history of those experiences, they ain't gonna do it. So that's where getting underneath and finding ways to engage them that keep it fun, because the relationship is more important than the task. The tasks will get done, they'll learn them, but the relationship, and that's the part that's healing, keep that at the forefront. Let the tasks just be an avenue, just one more avenue for how can we relate to do these things together? How can we create a team approach to doing these things? And is there a way that we can, make it a little bit fun, that it doesn't always have to be so serious and so life and death, so intense. We don't have to be so intense about it. It all has to be done right now. Those are our blueprints. That's our parenting. That's hearing our parents speak. And as my daughter reminds me, I'm not you and you're not your parents. So you're raising a child who's much different. We have to figure out, how to crack the code on that. So anyway, thank you guys for helping me celebrate my mother's birthday. Thank you for being along to hear about the things that I'm looking into on the behalf of my own child, and how I look forward to sharing that with you guys. And I'm excited and hopeful that this will have a very positive result. And thank you for your time. And I hope that this evening, if you've not already done this today, that at some point this evening you set everything aside. Things that you're worried about, things you're fussing about, things you've been cussing about, things you've been fretting about, set it all to the side. You can push pause on that, because you can come back and play that tape anytime. Set it all aside and enjoy your children. Enjoy them. Instead of fussing about the things that get on your nerves, notice them as quirks. Notice their quirky little behaviors and start growing a sense of humor about it, so it doesn't feel so annoying. Just notice them. Let the love you have for them shine from your eyes. Watch a movie together. Snuggle up on the couch. Snuggle up in bed and read a book. Wrestle, play, create something. Enjoy them. That's why we're in this together. When you do that with your kids, we all know this. The only things that you really remember about things that your parents said is if it was something they repeated, so repetition, or if it was something that came with a large amount of emotional impact, either because you were in a highly emotional state or they were. Those are the things that we actually remember the actual words. Otherwise, we remember how they made us feel. So this time, when you put all that instructing aside and you just enjoy them, you are planting the seeds that they'll most remember. The seeds of how you made them feel, and how you made them feel loved, how you made them feel special, how you made them feel cherished, how you made them feel valuable, and how you made them feel adorable. So make sure you take some time for that tonight. And remember what Brian tells us, in any given moment, we can act out of those same blueprints of stress and fear and overwhelm. It happens to all of us. It happens to all of us that we get hijacked at the brain level. Or lids can flip. Or we can pause and we can take 1 to 2 to 3 deep breaths, and we can choose love. Much love to you guys. Have a blessed night, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.